Welcome to Jamie TV and thank you for tuning in. I'm making this video in response to some criticism that's been levelled at me, but this is in no way me bitching back or even defending myself really. I think the criticism is fair and I'd just like to discuss it because when I first started making music for video games, I decided that I was going to plot my journey on YouTube. I would share what I've learned, share my failures, because that might be helpful to one or two people out there. So let's catch up on the story. In the video on screen, bit weird that I know a YouTube video playing in a YouTube video, bit of a negative reality inversion maybe. Anyway, link in description if you want to check that video out in full. In that video, I talked about how I came to be chatting online to independent game developer Cosmic Void, who was working on a point-and-click cyberpunk story game called Neon Heart City. The game was close to completion. He needed another piece of music and he'd run out of budget. So a deal was struck. I would write and record that piece of music and make it sound in keeping with what the game's composer had already recorded, and I would do it for free. So the game could then be completed and I would get my first piece of music in a game. Of course, my long-term goal is to earn money making music for video games so that I can buy a gold Porsche instead of driving the MILF car around. Seriously, I intend for it to become a substantial part of my income, but getting that first music job in the gaming industry is tough to say the very least. I've been a full-time pro musician most of my adult life. As a session bass player, I've travelled the world, played for some names, and I continue to support my family that way. But none of that is worth anything when you're trying to get into the gaming industry as a composer. You're only as good as the last game you worked on, so if you haven't worked on a single one yet, you're not worth anything. A few people have heavily criticised me for taking this job for no monetary reward. I've heard phrases like, it cheapens the work, it makes it harder for other composers, I shouldn't sell myself or the industry short, although I am short, and many other comments like that. Comments I can't honestly say I disagree with. Now, as a session musician and private guitar and bass teacher, I would never work for free. Exposure points do not pay bills. And I'm always complaining that music has no value now. Thank you, Spotify. So why would I agree to create for free when I've fought my whole career for musicians to be recognised as professionals and for us to receive the financial rewards we deserve? And believe me, it is a fight. I've been cheated and ripped off aplenty. This is the music industry, after all. Well, I suppose it was a gamble. I had this theory that once I'd written for one genuine commercial game that had been released on Steam, it should be easier, if not easy, to get more work. I could either take this opportunity and find out, or I could hang on to what I already had, which was nothing. So I did it, and thoroughly enjoyed the process. But did it work? Well, here's what happened immediately after I sent a finished piece of music to Cosmic Void and he liked it and confirmed it would be included in the game. It was at this point that the cow, good online friend of mine and member of my Patreon account, sign up for as little as $1 per month, mentioned to a friend of his, Richard Faulkner, that I'd just successfully got some music in a game. Richard, also known as a man in his techno shed, is a brilliant musician and retro techno nerd of some standing. He has quite the collection of old computers and synths and has made music for numerous games. And the clever twat can also code. Richard invited me to join his Discord server, which is basically a small collective of like-minded creatives, coders and artists that collaborate with and help each other with their various video game projects. I was invited to join this server as an extra musician to help with providing game music. The focus of the TechnoShed team at the moment is Spectrum Next games. Yep, these guys are seriously into the retro thing. The Spectrum Next is a super improved reimagining of the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. It is fully compatible with the original software and hardware, but the new games can take advantage of seriously upgraded processing, memory and graphics and storage and more. It can be plugged into a regular monitor. It has many other awesome features I won't go into right now. Now, I was a Commodore 64 kid. Many of my friends had a Speccy, and it had plenty of games that I liked, with superb gameplay. And when I was older, I picked up a Spectrum Plus 2 and a box full of games for some retro gaming nostalgia. But as a kid, the reason I liked the C64 best was because of its vastly better sound capabilities. To this day, the 64's SID chip has a long-standing legacy, and it's still highly revered. It was with the C64 that I first learned how to sequence music and how to make my own sounds, and by comparison, the Speccy sounded pants. But the Spectrum Next, getting back to the plot, whilst it doesn't have sound chips that sound as remarkable as the SID, it does have seriously upgraded audio capabilities. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I've already made some fake bit chiptune style music, but of course, to make music for Next games, I was going to have to do it for real. I was asked to use an old school style tracker. This is something I haven't done in about 4 decades, and something I never really did a whole lot of back in the day. But Richard helped me find where I could download Vortex Tracker, and I just dove into it. I've now made 3 chiptunes for a beautiful looking mystery game coming from the Techno shed. Can't really give any details away about it yet, still in development, but from what I've seen, it's going to be a really cool game. It's not a game about mystery, it's a mystery because I can't tell you much about it yet, he said, attempting to clarify and undoubtedly making it worse. Richard will also make some tunes for the game, and I'll be doing quite a lot more myself. At the same time, I'm working on another Spectrum Next game. This one will be a dungeon-based, turn-based strategy game called Necromancers of Avalon. It will be the sequel to Xenobrigade Extinction from developer Green Man Soft, and the music will have a Celtic fantasy flavour to it. This one is particularly interesting because I found out that the Spectrum Next can play an audio file. The music doesn't have to be tracker music, so we started to discuss the idea of making music for the game in this way. This would mean that I could compose and record music using the tools I'm familiar with, so as an experiment I made the piece of music you're hearing in the background. I recorded it in Cubase 14 Pro and blended some real instruments with some VSTs and some extra sounds from my iPad. Then I sent it to Richard, who brought the file size down to something the Next could cope with, and the developer loved it. He wants to use it for the title screen, which is Ace. I'm currently waiting for the developer to decide whether he wants real audio or tracker music for the rest of the game, at which point Richard and I will need to set out some kind of plan, what music is needed and who is working on which pieces. There are other games coming from the Techno Shed guys too, which I'm keen to be involved with, but I have to be careful what I say about games that are in the earlier stages of development, so more on that in future videos. As well as all this, I was asked by the Koji Arts group to make one piece of music for their forthcoming game, Meninjer Never Say Die, for the PlayStation 5. The piece you're hearing is what I submitted, and it will be heard within seconds of starting the game. I asked, if any, what details can I give away about the game at this point, so here is exactly what they had to say. Meninjer Never Say Die is dark and narrative driven. It's designed to be intensely challenging, throwing the player into a survival scenario where strategy, skill and stamina are tested in every moment. The story follows a lone warrior, one of the most feared competitors in a universal fighting league, who becomes target of a massive wide-scale assassination plot. Instead of running, he chooses to make a final stand, not for glory, but to ensure that the threat does not follow him home to his wife and children. What unfolds is a brutal test of will and resolve, set against a backdrop of betrayal, cosmic rivalry, and non-stop combat. The story unfolds slowly through the game, and by the end of the game, you will have full awareness of who this character truly is and how it plays a part in this unfortunate scenario. Gameplay involves wave-based survival, with increasing difficulty and varied enemy types. While the action is relentless, there are moments of reprieve, narrative discovery, and tactical decision-making woven throughout. And there have been a couple of other sniffs too from other companies. No definite deals on the table yet, so obviously games I can't speak about at this point for obvious reasons. But I'm in the game. I'm not making vast amounts of money doing this yet, but I'm in the game. I'm doing what I wanted to do, so I don't regret my decision. And I promised Cosmic Void that when the beta was ready for Neon Heart City, I would play through it. So he sent it me and I played through it. Now obviously I wanted to play the game, but I wanted mainly to get to the point where my music kicked in, which actually is quite far into the game. But I got really invested in the game, and so by the point where my music was going to kick in, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So when I got to that level and my music started, it really hit me. I don't have words to describe how happy, how satisfied that made me feel to hear my music in a proper video game. So no, I don't regret my decision. If you have any thoughts about my decision, comment below. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm a dickhead, then tell me in the comment section. If you think I'm awesome, tell me that too. Until my next video, take good care of yourselves, be kind and be good, play lots of video games and make lots of music, and try not to piss your pants about. I'll see you later.